Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have a 1v1 on Road to Kharkov. Our heroes today are going to be Tristan, playing for the Germans, and his opponent today is going to be HOI, with a lot of symbols there, so we're just going to call him HOI, even though that is probably the clan tag, but yeah, HOI. Okay, so anyways, Road to Kharkov. Now, since the last patch, it's actually been a little bit more difficult to get the ranks, so I wasn't able to actually get the accurate ranks for both players, especially because this player doesn't actually have, you know, standard English characters, so I didn't know how to get that. But maybe I could have just used this. Yeah, thinking about it, I could have just used that. Huh. Oh well. Doesn't matter really much. We will have ourselves a match on Road to Kharkov. So while things kick off and players are building stuff, let's take a look at those, well, both Doctrines and Bulletins. We see that HOI has already selected the Guard Rifle Combined Arms Tactics, and his Bulletins are the Experience for the MG. Even though he is Soviet, this is heavy machine guns, so it actually applies to, you know, the Maxim as well. So Experience for the MG. 3% accuracy on guard rifles, and 3% accuracy on his conscripts. And for Tristan, we see him having, essentially just buffing the Grenadiers. We have Panzer Grenadiers having 3% increased accuracy, Grenadiers also 3% accuracy, and then the 2% split on cooldown and reload for his Grenadiers as well. So, yeah, pretty basic stuff, nothing specialized, just, you know, having your infantry be a little bit more capable. So anyways, left-hand side, we see the first engagement. We got Grenadiers against Conscripts. Conscripts jumping into the house. Very nice angle in this house for the Conscripts, because 4 windows there allow them to shoot. However, 2 Grenadier squads are now coming on top of them, so they decide to jump out of the house and evacuate. Keep in mind that the houses, if I'm not mistaken, did receive a small buff, about 10% in the recent patch, so they are a little bit more useful than they were previously. Still not as, you know, overpowered as they once were, but, you know, you'll be able to hold on 10% longer. So 2 conscript squads against 2 Grenadiers. Grenadiers moving in to try to jump into the house. They manage to do so, but not before losing one of their men. Then they take a Molotov to the face, jump out of the house, and are now down to 2 men. They probably need to hit retreat. Down to 1 man. It's probably going to die. I don't think it's going to make it out of there. Yeah, there it goes. Down Grenadier squad for Tristan. Bad luck early on. MG42 set up in the middle of the road. Packs up and backs off. The conscripts trying to get on top of it, but the MG42 is already backpedaling. Behind the lines, however, we do have another conscript squad with another MG42 for Tristan getting a little bit flanked. The MG42 sets up to stop that conscript squad from getting the upper hand of that MG42. However, the conscripts do fall behind them and throw a Molotov on this MG42, probably going to be forcing it to retreat. 2 Molotovs going off simultaneously on each of the MG42s. MG42 does turn around and manage to catch that conscript squad that was harassing it. And the other MG42 turns around to engage against the conscripts that are currently in heavy cover, which means they will be able to actually stand in the fight with them for a while. Grenadiers over here could come into the fight, however, there's more conscript squads engaging, more Molotovs flying all over the place for HOI, and the Grenadiers are forced to evacuate. Pyos even brought into the fight, coming in for a little bit of a flank, although they decide to shift and go straight into the face. Heavy cover on both sides. Grenadiers down to 2 men, probably going to have to retreat right there. Second conscript squad moving in for support. Grenadiers down to very low amounts of health, but they will make it out of there since the Pyos are in the way. And the Pyos jump into the burning house, which has just expired on flames, so they will be fine. Conscripts will be able to win that. Probably another Molotov is going to be tossed. Yeah, there it goes. Wind up and the pitch. Lands right on top of all the Pyos. They're actually facing in this direction, and they're starting to burn up. They jump out of the house and hit retreat. Will make it out of there. MG42 sets up to stop the conscripts, catches them out in the open, and forces a retreat. Bloody engagements here in the early game for both players. So, we know that Tristan lost one of his Grenadier squads. He has 2 Grens and 2 MG42s on the field so far. And for HOI, we have no tech and just 4 conscripts into Molotovs. Well, not exactly sure when he got the Molotovs, probably after the second one, but yeah, 4 conscript squads in total. Grenadiers over on the right-hand side, just being used to cap. Combat engineers popping into the massive house over here will be able to shoot at the Grenadiers as they cap, but the Grenadiers will just sit there and cap and shoot back for a little while. More Grenadiers coming out into the field, going for the point on the right-hand side. And on the far left-hand side, we see more conscripts for HOI just capturing territory. Tier 2 going down for Tristan. Still no Doctrine selection for Tristan, so we'll see what he ends up getting. MU42 just covering the center approach. And Combat Engineer Squad retreating from the house on the right-hand side. Grenadiers did manage to capture the point. There is a mine laid down right there by HOI. Very nice. And he goes to the far right-hand side to get that victory point and stop the bleed. Victory point, 445 for Tristan, and still 500 for HOI, so he is, well, in a pretty good spot. MG42 down south, just covering the entire approach. Nice little angle there, actually covers the road and most of this approach, even this point right here. However, the angle is apparently not good enough. Well, no, actually it is good enough. It stops that conscript squad. However, there were two conscript squads coming up. One goes in for the flank. MG42 packs up, needs to retreat, taking a lot of damage from two conscript squads. There it goes. Don't think it's gonna die. Yeah, it stays alive. Conscript still getting suppressed by the MG42 over here on the center point. Conscript squad moving in to engage. MG42 will not be able to turn in time to stop the advancing conscript squad. Actually, it does. Conscript squad stays in the arc of fire. Will get a Molotov off, however, so the MG42 is forced to pack up and retreat as well. The conscripts are crawling on the dirt, and they will not be able to get too many good shots out there. A little bit further up north, Pyos with minesweepers. Nice for Tristan. Goes up and removes that mine. Very nice. I guess he probably saw it being built. Grenadiers and Grenadiers up in the north, going for the fuel point and munitions. However, this point is getting harassed by the conscripts, so they will cut off those resources once they are acquired. The munitions do get connected for a second or two, but the point has been lost for now. Pyos squad retreating down to very low amounts of health. Barely makes it out of there. That's very lucky there for Tristan. Does he have a med bunker? Not yet. Probably would be a good investment. And Panzer Grenadiers are now on the field for Tristan, trying to see if he can give him the upper hand here against all these conscripts that are spattered about. Guard rifles coming onto the field for HOI. A little bit preemptive there, but that's not bad. I mean, they do have DP light machine gun upgrades that will help them to fight against infantry. But there are currently no vehicles just yet for them to fight. However, Tier 2 is down, so Tristan will probably be getting something. Most likely a half-track. Scout cars are a little bit out of favor right now. They're considered to be a little bit too weak. Conscripts down south force away the MG42, and the Panzer Grenadiers shift down to engage the conscripts. Conscripts will get annihilated by these Panzer Grenadiers, so they actually need to get themselves out of there. Down to 4 men. Hit retreat. Panzer Grenadiers pursue, and they will probably disengage and just focus now on the other conscript squad. One of the Panzer Grenadiers finally goes down, cutting the DPS for that Panzer Grenadier squad by 25%. Man. And the Panzer Grenadiers are still strong enough to inflict... Oh, wow, that was a nice crit. Down to 1 man very quickly, forced to retreat. More squads coming onto the field. MU-42 sets up to stop the conscripts, and the Pyos are making a front. Manage to force away the conscripts, and they can probably capture some points. Up in the center, we have a Grenadier squad capturing the victory point, while another one covers it while it's inside the house. Combat Engineers unable to really put up much of a fight, and they are forced to retreat. And more conscripts are coming onto the field, so Tier 2 gone down for HOI. Probably not going to be getting anything from Tier 2. I can only assume he's going to be using it as a stepping stone towards a higher tech, most likely Tier 3. Conscripts on the left-hand side getting a nade to the face, but the Grenadier squad is forced to retreat. The other Grenadier squad still on the field, down to 3 men, but it just backpedals to get into a better position. And into heavy cover, probably. Has a fence right there. Nice thick wall. MG-42 down south, capturing that fuel. Second MG-42 also covering the entire approach, so the left-hand side flank is essentially locked down for the most part. And, yeah, we do have a medic bunker now on the field for Tristan, so very nice. Gonna get his units back to full strength. Panzer Grenadiers are at full strength, and they head out. Up a little bit to the north, Pyos with the sweepers going for the cap of that point, while at the same time the guard rifles are decapping that munitions. Looks like Tristan will be able... No, it looks like it's going to be pretty much at the same time. Was going to say that he was going to be able to connect it for a second or two, but no. There it goes. It's connected, and he connects this one over here, so... No munition gain, not even for a split second there. Center point, conscripts just moving around. PPSA just getting equipped on conscripts now for HOI. And we have no additional... Oh, yeah, there we go. Tier 3 going down for HOI, so yeah, we do have some additional tech. Nothing coming out of Tier 2 for Tristan, which is interesting. He has only so far gotten a Panzer Grenadier squad, and we also see that HOI is getting himself a mortar from his tier 2, so putting that building to use, getting a mortar squad. Maxim machine gun wouldn't also be too bad, considering that he does have that experience gain for the machine guns already, so would be utilizing his bulletins completely, but PPSH on the conscripts, annihilating the Panzer Grenadier squad down to one man, forced to retreat. Barely makes it out of there once he gets enough range, however. There are only 3 rifles now, essentially, on that squad, so the distance damage is, well, essentially cut down by half with that upgrade. So mass retreat from pretty much everything on the field for Tristan. He does have an MU-42 and a Grenadier squad still on the field. We do see a conscript squad going for the cutoff point. The MU-42 shifts position and manages to actually distract them long enough so that, well, distract them in a way that they actually step off of the point, which makes it so that they don't decap it. I think that's a little bit of a mistake there from HOI. He could have actually just hit the dirt as he's doing right there while still on the point and cut off most resources for Tristan. Grenadier squad, however, is forced to retreat by the other conscript squad, and the MU-42 opens up with its incendiary rounds. However, it's not really going to be able to do much. Getting Molotov down to one man, probably even going to die. Picks up, retreats. Rifle nade landing on the conscripts on the floor, but they manage to get themselves up and move out of the way. And the MU-42 makes it out. Grenadiers trying to stop those conscripts from decapping. There we go. They actually finally get the cutoff. So that's what needed to be done a little bit ago, but still happened, so that's fine. And more conscripts with more PPSHs just falling on top of the Grenadiers. Grenadiers unable to stop that. That is one complaint that is going on right now around the players. They feel that the addition of that PPSH is making conscripts a little bit too strong. Which, of course, is a delight to Soviet players because, well, conscripts are strong. But, well, we'll see if anything gets adjusted later on, or if it's just something that needs to be figured out by the player base to learn to counter it. You know, just because your previous strategies just didn't work doesn't mean new ones won't. So we'll see. Panzer Grenadiers and conscripts duking it out at long range. These Panzer Grenadiers a little bit afraid to actually close the distance, although it looks like they were just being used to actually capture the point for the most part. Having capped the point, however, they could have actually just moved up and bundled it there, or just try to annihilate them with their Stormgewehr rifles. Panzer Grenadier squad now actually has a veterancy too, and remember that actually provides them a defensive bonus. If I'm not mistaken, that is a 30% armor buff. So yeah, I mean, they could have easily closed the distance there and get on top to do a lot of damage. Conscripts over here hitting the dirt. Rifle nade going off for Tristan. HOI manages to dodge that. And victory point wise, it is 413 to 432, so it's actually pretty even. T-70 now on the field for HOI, hasn't actually done much or anything at all. We see a pack gun coming onto the field for Tristan, so anticipating some type of vehicle play at this point, very nice. Mortar flying off into the distance, not sure what it's actually hitting. I don't think it's actually hitting anything. We have it! It is landing in the tractor-heavy cover, so it's denying that area, but it's not actually hitting anything so far. Grenadiers moving up to the north. Combat engineers running into them. They lay down... No, actually, this is Tristan laying down a Teller mine, so that's nice. Rifle nade going off into this point. I think Tristan might have actually thought that there was a mine there. He does have his Pios, but the Pios are currently busy elsewhere. Guard rifle, a little bit cut off here, going up against the Grenadiers. However, one Grenadier gets brought down to one man and is forced to retreat through the squad. Can he make it out? I think he might not. Ooh, barely makes it out. Panzer Grenadier coming in to support, and the guard rifles are going to have to retreat. Shots flying off from the Grenadiers, and the Panzer Grenadiers are right on top of the guard rifle squad. Down to 2 men, down to 1, forces the retreat. Panzer Grenadiers first, and there they go. And they actually pick up, well, they don't pick up, but they drop a PTRS rifle. That's very nice for Tristan. MU-42 on the left-hand side. 2 MU-42s? Where's the other one? There it is. One of them stops a conscript squad, while the other one is in position to actually stop the other conscript squads. However, this one does manage to close the distance. Nope, it does force the retreat. Very nice. 2 squads off. 1 manages to get the victory point, so there's currently a triple cap against Tristan, so that's not so great. And that PTRS rifle is still on the floor. We'll see if anybody ends up picking it up. MU-42 picking up and moving even further. The mortar is being a little bit annoying. And we have the pack guns just covering areas down south, while at the same time defending those MG42s. T-34 now getting produced for HOI, so he is starting to amass his armor. T-70 pushing forward to harass. Panzer Grenadiers are there. They might actually bait it. Back off a little bit. No, it doesn't look like it's actually falling for the bait. Nice teller mine there for Tristan, but no, the T-70 is a little bit wise to the fact of that, and he backs off. Now, interestingly enough, Tristan skips Tier 3 altogether and goes for Tier 4. So, we may see some Panthers or Brumbar. Brumbars are pretty good against infantry, so hopefully we'll see one of those. And Panzerwerfers, I mean, generally speaking, I like Tier 4 for the Germans. It's very strong. I mean, I guess Tier 3 isn't too bad either, but, I mean, either tier, the options are just great. I guess it all depends on what you want to do, what strategy you're going for. So anyways, Grenadiers trying to poke and prod here into this point. Guard Rifles jump into the house. Panzer Grenadiers are nearby. They could throw a bundle late in there, although I think... No, they're actually getting Shreks. Shreks flying off into the house, not being able to do much, and they no longer have enough munitions to actually bundle late. Mortar backs off into the protection of the tanks. The MG42s are opening up in the house, just trying to increase or add to the damage. T-70 going down south. Gonna run into that teller mine. Oh, there it goes. Nice teller mine there for Tristan. T-70 goes down in a blast. Pios with their sweepers up on the right-hand side, going for the point, stopping that bleed. So down to 350 points for Tristan, 432 still left for HOI. Tristan will be able to get a double cap for now, but he is getting forced off of the field in every direction. He doesn't actually have anything on the field right now, aside from those Pios. Everything has retreated. We see MG42 moving further out. MG42 does have a Veteran C2, which is very nice. Veteran C2 improves the suppression and field control. However, the conscripts do hit the dirt in front of the MG42, which means they stave off the suppression effects. Still gonna get hit and damaged, but they will be able to capture that point, as the suppression or pin effects will never actually happen. Panzer Grenadiers managed to stop the actual cap of the point and are now right on top of the conscripts. The conscripts are forced to retreat. Grenadier squad's... Oh, a nice shot there from the mortar nails. The Grenadier squad needs to retreat. It's right in front of a 3 PPSH squad, and yeah, gets itself out of there. MG42 manages to get the suppression off on the conscripts. The conscripts were forced to retreat since they did not manage to hit the dirt, and the MG42 packs up and moves forward. Up north, Pios getting harassed by the T-34, forced to retreat. And we see stuff still now on the field, slowly flooding to the left-hand side. We now have a tank, a Panther, on the field for Tristan, getting himself that machine gunner on top. It's a very nice upgrade to get. It adds your anti-infantry capabilities, and it gives it a anti-air measure. Not very reliable, but it does occasionally shoot down some planes, especially the ones that tend to linger around and just, idle. Little Panther going straight at those conscripts. The conscripts will throw an 18-8 at it, probably. Suppression effects going off. The conscripts getting crushed, getting pinned, and forced to retreat. Sneaky little tactic there by Tristan. If you get a pin, you can actually crush the infantry, since they're not actually going to move. So you need to retreat very quickly. Guard rifle, PTRS rifles going off. We do have still a PTRS rifle drop there in the world, which unfortunately has not gotten picked up by anybody. And the Panzer Grenadiers are moving to the left-hand side to try to recover points. HOI once again triple capping Tristan. Tristan now down to 283 points, 80 now, and 424 still left for HOI. MG42 packing up, moving forward. Conscripts already set up in heavy cover by the wall. Grenadiers taking shots at long distance to those conscripts. Nice rifle lane on top of them could dislodge them from that point. And we also see the Pios once again moving over to the right-hand side. We see a demolition charge there, and that is probably for HOI. Can they actually get clear of it? Nope. Never mind. Not sure if they can actually disable it, since they have the sweeper, but, well, it doesn't mean that HOI can't detonate it, and he did, and there goes the Pio squad. Panther, trying to secure this location as it's as a mainstay tank. More Panzer Grenadiers getting produced. One Grenadier squad has died at some point. I'm not exactly sure when. I didn't notice, but we are down to only one Grenadier squad left for Tristan. something is being built by combat engineers somewhere. Oh, it's just mines getting laid down all over the place. Very nice there for HOI. And the MG42 on the left-hand side forces a conscript squad to retreat. The Grenadiers capture the victory point, slowing down the bleed to 1 point per tick. Panther moves up forward and starts taking shots at the conscripts. Could potentially break the wall and deny that heavy cover. Does actually hit the wall. One thing that happened in the recent patch that was not documented directly is that essentially, like, the entities on the world, like fences and the walls, have for pretty much all around have their health and armor increased, which means they're going to take more shots to just explode. Obviously, a tank can just run them over and destroy them very easily, but you know, it takes a couple more shots before they collapse by standard weapons. So the conscripts forced to retreat by that Panther. T-34 still on the field for HOI. He actually has two of them. One right here, the other one over here. Shreks flying from the Panzer Grenadiers actually nailed that T-34. T-34 down to about 60% health. And the guard rifles shift to support and take some shots off at long distance. Pios with minesweepers. Actually, you notice that a mine right there laid down in front of everything. They're trying to clear it out, however, there's a lot of infantry in the way. Panzer Grenadiers end up walking on top of it and detonating it since the Pios moved out of range. Panzer Grenadier retreats and barely makes it out of there with one man. The other squad, again, with the Shreks, makes it out with one. And the PTRS rifle still in the world. Panther moving forward, gets rammed, and gets its engine damaged. Just a damaged engine, so it can make it out of there. The T-34 will not actually kill it. And we do have a pack gun on the field. Pack gun could move into range and start shooting at the maximum distance, just attacking ground onto where the tank is and try to kill it. Left-hand side, MG42 going to try to sneak a cap on that point. Again, triple cap going against Tristan, down to 193 points. He's starting to run slowly out of time. More combat engineers getting produced for HOI. And the T-34 is now getting repaired by combat engineers. No Pios on the field, however, for Tristan, so he can't repair this Panther. Panther could actually do with just getting the hell out of there and going back to the base. Pio squad, it is getting produced for Tristan, but it's going to take a while, so that's what I'm saying. You should probably just get it out of there. Guard rifle taking some shots at the MG42. MG42 tries to retreat, but it gets annihilated by both the mortar and the guard rifles. More PTRS rifles getting dropped on the world. Ugh, Tristan says. He's not very pleased with what has been going on. PTRS rifles still there. There's actually two. Grenadier squad could do with picking those up. Yeah, the Grenadiers actually go for it. Nope. They actually decide to ignore that, so they don't want PTRS rifles. Okay. That's fine. Grenadiers move down, pick up the MG42, and the other man retreats. Be able to reinforce back at base. MG42 also retreats, wants to come back at 4 men. And the mortar is actually taking shots at the PTRS rifle, trying to destroy it, it looks like. Panzer Grenadiers pushing forward into the center. Run into that T-34. Shreks fly off. Doing damage. Artillery barrage on that AT gun, gonna land right on top of the Panzer Grenadiers. Kills one of them, forces the retreat. And the conscripts going a little bit behind the lines. No, they actually just go for the cap of that point, so that's fine. And up north, Panzer Grenadiers going for the victory point. Trying to stop that bleed, down to 155 points for Tristan. He has not been able to consolidate control of at least one of those victory points. HOI, for the most part, just keeps on harassing and keeps on recovering points. Panzer Grenadiers backing off since we have a T-34 and a conscript squad moving on top of them. Instantly hits retreat, doesn't actually want to risk it. And those PTRS rifles... PTRS rifles want somebody to pick them up. Tristan says, nice VP control, and yes, we can agree. HOI has been triple capping him for the most part. And yeah, you can see his name right there, but I have no idea what that would mean. I'm sorry. So yeah. Sorry. Chair's a little squeaky here. So Tristan down to 134 points, being triple capped, ticking down very quickly. needs to do something to regain control. Grenadiers, MG42s, pack guns, more Panzer Grenadiers on the field, moving into the left-hand side. Conscripts there trying to stop the Grenadiers from capping. The MG42 does add to the damage. The conscripts, however, do hit the dirt, and they are inside the point, which means that Tristan is not able to even capture it. He shifts his Grenadiers to get into heavy cover. No, actually, it looks like that guy is not in the point, even though he was in the point. Totally was, but whatever. Oh, we have an artillery gun on the field for HOI, having enough resources to build that at this point, so he knocks out that MG42, forces it to back off. Panzer Grenadiers push forward, trying to get to this point over here. The Panther is now fully repaired, back in action, and we see a Panzerwerfer getting built by Tristan. That's very nice, might allow him to dislodge entrenched positions. We even have sandbags getting laid down by HOI to stop these MG42s from doing pretty much anything. Panther pushes forward, AT gun actually takes a shot at the Panther and forces it to back off. And the Panzer Grenadiers pop into the house and are going to try to take out the T-34. T-34 takes a nasty double barrage there. There goes the Shreks flying. Down to 2 men on that Panzer Grenadier squad in the house. Tristan decides not to risk it, pops out of the house, and will be forced to retreat. Panther moves forward and looks like he might have... either he took an 18-8 to the face. Yeah, the damage would suggest an 18-8, not a mine, so yeah. Conscripts do manage to 18-8 that Panther and get a crit on the engine. Guard rifles push forward. And still, PTRS rifles in the center. Drop them all over the place. MG42 stopping the advance of a guard rifle squad. Panzerwerfer flying with its rockets. Going to try to land on top of the T-34. Well, it looks like that's what it was trying to do, but it was shooting too far off in its range and too into the fog of war, which actually increased your scatter, so it didn't actually hit anything there. Panther getting its engine repaired once again. Grenadiers retreating from the field, left-hand side. Another conscript squad going for the cap on the point. MG42 opens up. The conscript squad does get suppressed, however, so that is a lucky break there for Tristan. He will be able to dislodge that conscript squad eventually. However, it looks like not before they get the cap. Suppression still going on, and yeah, the pin is not going to go off before they get the cap. So the conscripts cap the point and will end up retreating in a little bit. Panther pushing forward, takes a shot, kills a few, well, one of the conscripts. More die on the retreat, but that's about it. Panzerwerfer took another barrage at something, not exactly sure what it was. House in the center collapses. Panzer Grenadiers going for the victory point in the center. They get themselves out of the sight range of that T-34. And the Shreks and Panther are moving forward. It looks like Tristan might be trying to go for a little bit of a flank here, trying to inflict some necessary damage to HOI's forces to be able to get a kill here. Panther pushes forward right in front of the T-34, puts itself in risk of getting rammed once again. Second T-34 moving in to support. Shots flying off from the T-34. Shreks right behind the Panther there for support. The T-34 stands still. Take a shot from the Shreks. Panther also flies off a shot. And we do have those Panzer Grenadiers in the way, stopping anything coming up there. Oh, nasty shot there from the artillery gun, or, well, AT gun, artillery barrage. Ram goes off on the T-34, but only on the Panther, but only manages to do a crew shock, stunning the crew inside. But the T-34s will fall down, so this might be the break that Tristan needs. He is down to 37 points, down to the wire. He did stop the bleeding at this point, but yeah, he needs to inflict more damage. A third T-34 is on the field for HOI. He still has those Shreks, loses one of the men, but still has both Shreks on the field. Panther backs off and takes the shots to the conscripts. At the same time, Panzerwerfer flies and lands right on top of the AT gun. Oh, nice shots. Does not manage to decrew it, however. Too many men in the squad, but does inflict some damage. MG42 and guard rifles over here on the left-hand side. I mean, not guard rifles, Grenadiers getting some points. Still have those PTRS rifles. I don't know. I just don't like these weapons in the floor. That's why I keep on checking on them. But yeah, I don't think Tristan's going to be picking them up. Artillery gun focusing on the victory point. Oh, that was a nice shot on the MG42. Almost takes it out completely. Look at that. Very low amounts of health. Grenadier squad retreats as well after losing its heavy weapon support. And the right-hand side will eventually fall. We see HOI, however, sending all his troops into the center for the meantime. And we have the Panzerwerfer still on the field. Panzerwerfer ready to fire. And the MG42 on the left-hand side is trying to secure and lock down this victory point at the very least. Double cap is going in the favor of Tristan, so that means that HOI has been bled to 200. Oh, nice. Nice usage here of the S minefield. Not something that you see used a lot. It did get buffed recently. A reduction in cost, a reduction in build time, and the spread of it has also been reduced. We still have a couple mines here or there, essentially bouncing Bettys there, so they're designed against infantry. Only stupid thing is that the the sign is still there. People don't understand why it's there, and well, I don't actually do either, but well, it's something that is there, and I don't know if it'll ever be removed. Panzer IV on the field for Tristan. Oh, wait, that's a command tank. Okay, never mind. Oh, and I also never mentioned, he did get his Doctrine, and that is the Blitzkrieg Doctrine, which is nice. We don't see that used a lot, but it does give you the smoke, the command tank, and a reconnaissance slide. Stuka close air support, so yeah, there's quite a good thing there, but he gets himself a Panzer IV. Panzer IV with the stubby gun is actually a little bit better against infantry. Conscripts over here do manage to get past. Oh, they're hitting the dirt. Just go for them. Crush them. Crush them. Crush them. No, crush them. Well, there they go. So one thing to keep in mind is that tanks counter hit the dirt. Hit the dirt. You can't move. Well, the conscripts just get run over. Something exploded over here. Not exactly sure why. Oh, artillery gun. Far right-hand side, Grenadier squad retreating at one man. We see a T-34, conscripts, and combat engineers, plus even an AT gun defending the right-hand side. Victory points down to 20 for Tristan. He goes for the center point with the Panzer Grenadiers, and he is recapturing the left-hand side with the MG42. Artillery gun just continues to fire into the victory point in the center. The Panzer Grenadiers did manage to capture it and move on, so they will be able to survive that. Panzer Grenadiers running into veteran C3 conscripts with PPSHs. Panzer Grenadiers lose that fight very quickly. Look at that damage go down. Panzer Grenadier squad needs to get out of there. It's gonna die. Yeah, it's gonna die. Oh, it dies. Conscript squad, however, is lost as well, so a nice little victory there for Tristan. It did cost him a bit, but the mortar ended up actually killing a couple of the conscripts. One very nicely placed shot. Panzer Grenadiers with the Shreks move in to engage the T-34. Shots go off. The Panzer IV is pushing all the way forward. And the Panzerwerfer is flying shots. Oh, nice barrage there into the exit of the base. Cleans out that mortar and removing its veterancy, even though the weapon is still alive. And the guard rifles are shooting at the command tank. As the Panther over on the right-hand side is trying to engage the T-34. Panzer Grenadier squad with the Shreks do manage to back off at one man. And the conscripts are just flooding into the center. MG42 set up there to cover. We still have the other MG42 covering the point on the left-hand side. Excuse me. And the Panzerwerfer even pushes forward to get a closer spread on its artillery, or well, its barrage ability. Conscript squad moving to the left-hand side. Guards and conscripts pushing into the center. We see a reconnaissance pass moving over to the right-hand side by Tristan. The PTRS rifle once again getting dropped by the guard rifles. I think that guard rifle squad no longer has any PTRS rifles. Panzer IV going to go try and crush those conscripts. There it goes. There it goes. That's how you do it. And the conscript squad gets annihilated in the center for deciding to hit the dirt in front of an advancing tank. Conscripts on the left-hand side do manage to get the decap on the point. Oh, that was a nasty shot there by the artillery gun. Destroys the weapon, destroys the entire squad, and the conscripts will be able to capture the point. We see a pack gun desperately rushing over to the right-hand side for Tristan, trying to get the cap on that victory point. It stops right at the edge. We'll be able to do that, and it's actually shooting at the sandbags, trying to clear them out. Panther gets itself right in the face of that T-34. That is one thing to keep in mind. The RAM ability cannot be triggered at close range. It actually needs a startup or a leap. So if you just stay right on top of the T-34 will not be able to ram your tank. So that means this T-34 is going to be going down center point. Combat engineers going for the cap. They managed to get the decap. At the same time, Tristan is getting the cap on the right-hand side. Down to 13 points, down to 12, however. So he is, again, running out of time. Left-hand side command tank is, well, not looking at any infantry over here. So it looks like it might have actually managed to kill, at the very least, dislodge that point. However, Tristan stops the bleed at 11 points, finally capturing this point on the right-hand side. Down to the wire. He cannot afford to lose any points anymore. He goes for the center. MG42 going to be picking that up. That artillery gun needs to be killed by Tristan if he wants to survive. Panzer Warfare flying right into the approaching infantry. Oh, that was a nice shot there. Annihilates an entire conscript squad. Very nice. We're losing more veterancy here for HOI. He's taking a lot of damage here, a lot of losses that he can't really afford at this point. Although he does have 360 points, meaning that, you know, he has time. He can just, you know, gather his forces, focus, and, you know, come back into the game with really no issue. But sometimes you get tunnel vision. You see he's down to 11 points. All I need to do is just capture a couple victory points for a couple seconds, and he's going to be dead. But, you know, that is the wrong way to do it. The PTRS rifle dropped in the world. We have 3 all over the place. So this PTRS land, you can pick them up whenever you want. Reconnaissance overflight being used by Tristan, just taking a look at everything. The guard rifle squad, where is it actually? There it is. Do they actually have a PTRS rifle? No, so this guard rifle squad is now just anti-infantry. It does have 2 DP light machine guns, but all PTRS rifles have been lost. So yeah, can't actually do anything to the tanks anymore. Panzer Warfare flying, probably right on top of the guards. No, a little bit up north. Oh! It's a lot of infantry there. Takes a lot of men out of the AT gun and the combat engineer squad. Does not kill them, it doesn't look like, so unfortunate there. Panther pushes forward. The guard rifle's just shooting at it with its, you know, light weapons, since they no longer have PTRS rifles. Rifle lane being tossed by the grenadiers. Hits the guard rifle squad down to 2 men. Downs 2 men. Conscript squad pushing forward. MG42 catches them out in the open, forces a retreat. Still have that T-34 on the field. T-34 is apparently going for the ram on the Panther. The Panther is now getting shot in the butt. T-34 backs off. We do have a pack gun nearby that could kill out that T-34. And the Panther is now chasing it as it runs in reverse. Guard rifle squad trying to hold down the point. Grenadiers and Panzer IV comes up behind the guard rifle squad, forces it away. Left-hand side victory point is still in possession for HOI, so Tristan is only double capping right now. Down to 307 points for HOI. Tristan holds strong. More things coming onto the field. That's a Panzer Grenadier squad. And we see that Tier 4 has gone down for HOI, and he's getting himself an Su-85. Su-85 will be coming onto the field in a little while, but not yet. Ooh, nice shot there. Almost kills out the entire guard rifle squad, but drops one of the DP light machine guns, but just picks it back up. Can Tristan come back here? Bunker already on the field for Tristan, covering the victory point. He sends the MG42 to the left-hand side to recover that victory point. Going to do a triple cap against HOI. HOI does bring in his Su-85 now. The Su-85 will be able to deal effectively with the Panther, as it is the only real tank that can, you know, go up against it. The Panzer IV does do some damage, but nothing really significant. Panther taking some shots at the conscripts just crawling around. AT gun, Su-85, and T-34 coming back in. T-34 getting some repairs. MG42 set up to stop the cap of the point. And we see the Panzer Warfare moving up. Panzer Warfare going to take a barrage. It looks like it's actually going to try to go for the artillery gun. He knows where it is. Yeah. Shots are flying in this direction. Artillery gun going to get hit. Nope. Admirable attempt, but it doesn't actually hit anything. It spreads out a little bit too much. MG42 catching the conscripts coming in a little bit here from the flank. The Panther is taking some damage by the Su-85 and the T-34. Panther gonna get some emergency repairs on the field. The T-34 did take a lot of damage. It is down to a sliver of health at about 10%. Conscripts in the center. PTRS rifle still there. Pack gun moving around to cover the other approach. MG42 picks up and moves out of the way as it looks like the artillery is landing around here. The S minefield getting detonated by those artillery shots. And on the left-hand side, we see our guard squad going to try to go for the cap over here. Panzer IV still there. Panzerwerfer moving even closer. Throws off a barrage. Can it actually hit the artillery gun now? Nope. Probably not really worth the attempt. Guard squad getting harassed by the Panzer IV, forced away. And Tristan has now bled HOI down to 195 points, less than 200, so he's doing pretty good. T-34, however, is about to get fully repaired. The Panther is still getting repairs, now at about 75% strength. Su-76 getting called onto the field for HOI. Those can help out against the Panther and also those artillery shots, so that's very nice. A lot of indirect fire capability. Panzerwerfer continues to fly, trying to take out that artillery gun, but I think that's a little bit futile to be doing in this way. I mean, you'd be best served just sending the Panzer IV into the base and trying to take it out that way. Center map, Panzer Grenadiers running into some conscripts. The conscripts are not veteran, so they are going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Panzer Grenadiers are just sitting in the floor, taking shots into the face, and there they go. Guard Rifle Squad with their DP light machine guns, trying to stop what they can. Panzer Grenadiers move up, and we now see the Panzer... Oh, Su-76 is going to be taken out by the Shreks. And we see a Stuka close air support being called in, takes out one of the Su-76, and the Panther also takes some shots, backs off, and HOI throws in the towel. Wow. Well, it was a very difficult situation, but he had a little bit more time. Maybe he would have been able to do it. Well, anyways, good game. So Tristan manages to hold on and takes a win. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.